Hi, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be telling you guys the story about the time my professor took us to a haunted bar to pick up a goblin. Okay, he was obsessed with animals, mythical creatures, stuff like that, so he definitely was on this when someone told him that there is a little goblin running around in this particular bar at nighttime. Okay, so this was a 24-hour bar. Okay, they was open early. They was open like, well, not 24 hours, but they was open like in the day and at nighttime. And so they had a day shift, they had a night shift, everything like that. And Professor R had got a call from somebody that had used to have his class that had started working at the bar. And so this person told Professor R about the little goblin. They had described what it looked like to him, and they had described that other people had seen it too as well. And so they told Professor R to like basically come and pick it up. Like they basically was telling him like, hey, I know you're into this kind of stuff or whatever, so you can have it, or you can come and get it, or that's why I'm calling you so you can have it because I know you would want it. And so Professor R did. He did. He wanted it as a pet. I don't know why he wanted it as a pet, but he said that that's what he wanted it for. So he hit us up, and he hit me up. He hit up B. He hit up Candace. He hit up a couple other people and asked them did they want to come with him to go pick up the little goblin. I don't know what the proper term of it is, so I'm just gonna call it a little goblin. Okay, if it is another term for it. All right. Okay, so he basically was giving us the rundown on it once we had all told him that we would go. Okay, of course, as you guys know, I'm always the driver. I was the driver. And so Professor R was basically just giving us the rundown on the goblin. He said that he's going to be tricky, he's going to bite, he's going to kick, he's going to make noises, he's going to scratch, he's going to be really mean and tricky. Okay, so don't think that this little thing is some kind of nicey nice. It's not nice. Get out of the way. Basically, don't be in my way while I'm trying to catch it or set traps for it. Basically, just move to the side. I'm just bringing y'all with me so y'all can carry my extra stuff because I'm gonna basically be the one that interact with it and catch it, because if it bites you, I'm not about to and take none of y'all to the hospital, and I know what I'm doing, so let me just go. Okay. So basically, Professor R, he was ready. He had a little trap. Yes, he had a little trap. It was like this little thing. Oh my god. It looked like an oversized bird cage. That's what it looked like. Like the biggest bird cage that you could ever see, or like the biggest one that you've seen. Okay? That's what size it was. It was still small. Okay, but it was big enough to fit in the trunk. It was big enough to fit in the trunk of his truck. Okay. And so Professor R, he put it in the trunk. He put the thing in the trunk, and he had some books, like some mythical looking books or whatever, that he always be carrying with him. And he was basically reading those out loud on the way. And he said they were supposed to be like protection spells from the goblin because it knows how to do magic too as well. I forgot to tell you guys too. Well, I did tell you guys, but it was in another video. It was in a Wizards Duel video. Professor R thinks he's a wizard too, okay? But he's not like a dark wizard or anything. He thinks he's like a Gandalf, a Dumbledore, like type of wizard, okay? So this Professor R has his own life, honey. He lives in his own lane, okay? So yeah, Professor R said that it knows how to do magic, and basically he was reading off like protection spells from it and stuff like that. Like this book is old, it's leather, it's raggedy. It looked like it been through 1,000 years and 1,000. It looked bad, okay? And it's not even in English. It's old ancient language that he's chanting, in the backseat, and we just have to trust that Professor R is chanting the right thing, okay? Because we don't know how to read this stuff. He did eventually later teach us like a little bit Latin and a little bit more, but it was not that, okay? It was not that. It was not that at all, and it wasn't written in a text form neither, okay? Okay, so Professor R is messing around with the book. He's doing the chant. He's protecting the crew from the goblin. He gives all of us a little stick. The stick had some string tied around it, and it had some leaves tied around it from like them little oh my goodness, those little like when somebody got crabgrass and it grows like crabgrass or whatever. That's kind of what it looked like a little bit. It was thick like that. Okay, so I don't know what kind of leaves it was, but it kind of looked like the crabgrass leaves. If you know what crabgrass is. Okay, so it that was wrapped around the little stick with the string on it, and everybody had a different color string. Okay, my string was red, of course, and everyone else, they had their own color. Okay, like Candace, hers was blue, B, his was green. Okay, so, and Professor R had a white string around his or whatever. Okay, so we all had different color strings around our things, which meant different colors. I mean, which meant different stuff. I didn't know that until we had got to the thing. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, and so the we get to the bar, everything's fine. Professor R, he B has cameras too because he wants to record it so he can get a gajillion dollars. That's what he says. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get this on record and then I'm gonna sell it to BBC America. That's his favorite thing to say every time we go out with Professor R. And so he wanted to get it on recording or whatever. Basically, he's Professor R's reality show camera at this time because he's following Professor R with the camera at this point. All right. So he has his camera, he has his stuff. Professor R has the little bird cage looking trap. It's not a bird cage though, but it looks like one. It's like shaped like one basically. But I know that it's not a bird cage though. I just don't know what it would be called, okay? Because it's way too big, okay? And it was old, it was iron, it had things on it that I can't even describe, like symbols, like rune looking symbols on it. That was carved into the side of it. Okay, so this thing was not supposed to get out of that. And I know that that wasn't a bird cage, okay? No, okay. So Professor R grabs the thing. We walk in. It's nighttime. It's nighttime, so the thing is supposed to be woke right now. Okay, it's supposed to be woke. It's supposed to be running around, stealing food, bothering people that's going to the bathroom all the way in the back. When the main bathroom is full, they tell people that they can go to the back and go to the bathroom. Okay, well, that's where it bothers people at. Steals people's gloves, scarves, shoes, hats, all kind of stuff during the winter months. Jackets, other kind of scarves, like lady scarves in the summertime, or like when it's raining outside, ladies like to put little silk scarves on. Okay, he stole those. Okay, so he got a whole abundance of stuff that he comes and gets at nighttime. So we know that he's woke when we walk in because the bartender says, oh my goodness, yeah, get him. I don't have any lemons. I don't have any limes tonight because of him. I don't have any lemons and limes tonight because of him. That's what he kept saying. And Professor R was like, lemons and limes, those are for spell work. Did he take any onions? And he was like, no, he didn't take any onions. He took all of my lemons and limes. He was so upset. And he kept saying that the thing took the lemons and limes because they know they were there. And that's the only thing that could have taken them. And this place isn't rat infested or it doesn't have any issues or anything. And everyone at this point is so used to blaming it on the little goblin that lives in the basement that every time something comes up missing, they just go on ahead and say that it's him. Okay. And so he was so happy to see Professor R. He was leading Professor R to like the doorway to the basement, and the door slammed. And Professor R had got so hyped. He was like, oh yeah, we're going to find him. He's being tricky tonight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that thing did not just slam the door. And B was like, I don't know. I had to watch it back on camera to see and slow the camera down real fast. I'm like, go somewhere, But anyways, I didn't feel like it slammed the door. Okay. I didn't feel like it was around until I got in the basement. Okay. So the door had slammed and Professor R was just joking around, with the guy, the bartender guy or whatever. And B got his camera, and Professor R, he got the trap. He's saying that he want to put the trap in the middle of the floor down in the basement part. And so B helps him carry the trap down the stairs, and they open it and they put it in the middle of the basement part. And Professor R, he puts some kind of stone and some kind of flower and a toy in it. He put a toy, a stone, and a flower. Okay, the toy was like a train, like an old wooden choo-choo train, like from like when somebody that's older was a child. Like it's you can definitely tell it's like a vintage toy, a older toy. It was wooden, like the little paint was like crusty on it or whatever. And so he put that in there too. And it didn't make any noise or anything like that. It wasn't, souped up or anything. It was just an old wooden train. Like the front part of it that's supposed to go choo choo, that part. Okay, so he put that in there. He put the flower in there, and he put everything else in there. And then he told us to get out of the way and make sure that we're holding what he gave us in our hand. So I'm holding my little stick in my hand. Candace is holding hers in her hand. B, he's holding his. He is focused mainly on the trap because he wants to get it running into the trap or walking into the trap or going into the trap. He said that he should have brought 2 cameras so he could put one inside of the trap too. Okay, so eventually when he gets it out, he can record it looking in the camera and stuff like that or whatever. But he didn't do that. So Professor R, he's standing off to the side and he starts chanting something. And we start hearing scratching. Okay, it kind of sounds like when a squirrel has got in your house, or a bird is like scratching in your gutter or in your window or something. It sounded like that. And so we hear scratching while he's chanting. We hear it. So I'm holding on to my little thing tight because if Professor R says that this is going to protect us from this thing, then it will protect us. But all of us have protection in a different way. Like mine's was like fiery protection. This thing gets hot when it touched me. Okay, B, his was earthly protection. It can't touch him, period. Because he's the cameraman, so it's like we all had different protection, I guess. And so I don't know, like it didn't never try to touch me. It didn't never bother me or anything like that. I ran. Okay, I ran, so it didn't bother me. Okay, because as soon as I felt like it was something in down there with us, I just went on ahead and left. Because the only reason why I came was because I didn't really think Professor R was gonna find it or anything was gonna come out or anything like that or whatever. So Professor R, he is doing the little chant or whatever, and we hear the scratching, and it gets louder and louder and closer, and then all of a sudden the door, it bursts open and then it slams again. And Professor R is just continuously doing the chant. And basically he said that he was calling it to him. Okay. And eventually the scratching got louder. It started bumping stuff over. We started hearing stuff fall. Like I'm just saying, like we heard a ranch bottle fall off of the shelf. Or we heard a can of beans fall off the shelf or whatever down in the basement. And basically it had got to the point where it was knocking stuff over. He was saying that he was being real rebellious. He did not want Professor R to catch him or whatever. And Professor R was saying basically we're going to take another 10 minutes, and if he don't want to come, we're not going to take him because he's going to curse us all if I put him in this trap and he doesn't want to be in it. So Professor R for another 10 minutes tried to soothe him with the enchantment spell, and he started turning up even more and getting even madder to the point where he slammed the door to the trap. Yes, he did. He slammed the door to the trap and knocked the trap over. And it happened so fast that it looked like something just zipped across the floor and zipped past us. That's all it looked like. Just like this. That's what it looked like. You couldn't see a description. You couldn't see a head, a fingernail, a toe. You couldn't see anything. So at this point, B thinks this is bullcrap. He thinks that the bar has set this up and they're liars because he's a skeptic too. Like he does not He don't believe none of this stuff that Professor R be taking us to go and do, taking us to go and see and stuff like that. He don't believe in none of it. Okay, so he's like, oh my God, they did that. That's a robot. That's a lie. That's a dog. That's a cat. That was a possum. That was a rat. That was something. And it wasn't. And we all knew it wasn't. We knew it wasn't because we saw enough of it while it was going by to know that that's not what it was. Okay. So we knew what it was, and when it knocked the thing over and Professor R saw that it was mad, he was more scared of like being cursed by it than even catching it anymore. So he started panicking. You know how Professor R gets if you watch any of my other videos, and he started his yelling, hurry up, get it out of here, hurry up. And he started calling B and telling B to help him, and B is like helping him while still holding the still holding the camera, trying to see like if the thing is gonna like zip past us again so he can get it on camera, but it didn't. And so the footage that B has, it zipped. It zipped. It's nothing. It's like a little black ball going across the floor. That's what the footage looked like. A little fuzzy black ball going across the floor. We saw it, but we didn't get a chance to see it. So I guess, I don't know. Professor R's favorite thing to say is, you get to see what you pay attention to. He loves to say that. Professor R said that a lot of people don't believe in mythology and folklore because they don't pay attention to it. We've already been conditioned and told that these things do not exist and that they are not on planet Earth. And so we do not expect to see them. So we don't think about that. Plus, we have our own lives. We have our jobs, our careers, our bills, our relationships, our children, our lives, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, brothers. We're not thinking about a centaur. Okay, and the people that are thinking about one, that really, really want to see one, and that's willing to sacrifice and, you know, like go to forests, go to wildlands in order to see them, they just may see one. That's just something that he always told us. He was like, never rule anything out because you get to see what you pay attention to. So in that instance, he said he don't believe that he deserved to have the little goblin as a pet because he didn't pay attention enough to goblin culture or goblin period. You know, like he's like, he doesn't want to live with me. I don't know anything about him. He doesn't want to be good to me. I don't know anything about him. I didn't even respect him enough to research him before I tried to catch him and turn him into a pet. Okay, so that's why he didn't get a chance to see him, and we didn't get a chance to see anything but a little black ball darting across the floor, because that's not what we pay attention to. That's not something that we pay attention to. So basically, he felt like the universe did not allow us to see it. That's what he loves to say about that particular situation right there. But we all know that something darted across the floor, and we all know that we didn't get a chance to see it. We didn't see its clothes. We didn't see its shoes. We didn't see its body. We didn't see its head, its fingers, a toenail, nothing. An eyelash, nothing. We saw nothing of it. It looked like a little black dart going across the floor. That's it. That's all we saw. And that's how it looked on camera too. When B went back to go to like, and when we got to the car and B was trying to like look at it, he no matter how much he slowed it down, rewinded, zoomed in, it was nothing but a little black dot going across the floor. We couldn't see it. He said that we didn't deserve to because why were we bothering him? That's what he said. So it's not my fault that the goblin did not like us or whatever, but since Professor R said it was his fault, he just put all of us in the same box. Okay, so that's the story about the goblin in the diner basement. No, I didn't get a chance to see it. No, B does not believe it was a goblin. He believes that the bar just wanted some attention, and they like Professor R because he's quirky, and they called him there to look at a little black dot on the floor instead of an actual goblin, because he feels like if a goblin was powerful and it had magic and all of this stuff, why would it hide itself? Why would it dart like that and just be a little black dot? And Professor R was trying to explain to him because it is a trickster spirit, trickster animal, trickster creature. That's why. But he doesn't believe it. He feels like Professor R has a excuse for everything. Okay, so I don't know what the hell was in the basement. Okay, I have no idea what was down there. All I know is that I was clutching my little stick that Professor R had gave me for dear life. Okay, and after the thing had um ran out of after we had ran out of the basement while Professor R was screaming and telling B to help him and all of this stuff, we just completely ran out of the bar. We didn't stop. We didn't tell anyone what happened in the basement or anything. Neither. Like, we didn't stop to see, like, if they were just fibbing around with us or fibbing around with Professor R or anything like that. But since it decided to knock over the cage and the cage had all like the rune symbols on it, Candace said that she think it could have been a goblin, maybe. Um, Professor R later found out that he was being disrespectful to the goblin by trying to like take its power away from him instead of trying to like be cool with him and understand him and letting him be cool with him. It's like you were trying to dominate a creature and basically you don't even have the bandwidth to do that. Okay, so that was a long one. That was a weird one. That little black dot darting across the floor, knocking I don't know what it was. It could have been anything. It could have been, it like, I don't know. It could have been anything. It just could have been anything. All I know is that it was going so fast and it was darting and our adrenaline was pumping so hard that it was a little black dot, and even on camera it was a little black dot just darting. Okay, so comment what you think. I know that it's a lot of different things that it could have been. I am curious about what do you think it was in the basement that day. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.